The last 7 days since the U.S. court indictment against Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani and Vineet Jain over serious allegations. This includes securities fraud, wire fraud, in some counts of bribery also. There's been a major upheaval and an announcement that was made today. Top lawyers who came out and spoke, making a clarification, saying essentially that the charge of bribery doesn't stand against the Adanis. Referring to the U.S. court indictment, they said that the charge is only of securities fraud and wire fraud, which they will fight legally. And this major clarification came after days of turmoil on the stock market. Essentially, the message is this: none of the top executives of Adani Green Energy, Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani or Vineet Jain, have been charged under the U.S. Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, or the FCPA. It's essentially the Anti-Corruption Act in America. Now, while the U.S. Department of Justice's indictment includes charges of securities fraud, of wire fraud conspiracy, there are no bribery charges that have been levied against the Adanis. And that clarification came from Mukul Rohatgi as well as Mahesh Jethmalani. After 5 days of being continuously hammered on the stock exchange, came a big clarification by Adani Green Energy. The company, whose subsidiaries are at the center of the bribery allegations, informed stock exchanges that Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani and Vineet Jain had not been charged with any violation of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, or the FCPA, in the indictment by the U.S. Department of Justice, or the civil complaint by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. It added that the three have been charged on 3 counts of alleged securities fraud conspiracy, alleged wire fraud conspiracy and alleged securities fraud. The intimation also said the U.S. court documents do not indicate the quantum of the fine or penalty. 2 top jurists, Mahesh Jethmalani and former Attorney General Mukul Rohatgi, backed Adani Green's claim on Wednesday morning.
The Adanis are not named, but several other persons are named. Whether they are connected with Mr. Adani or not, they will respond. But I just wanted to clear the air that the Adanis are not named in count 1, violation of the Foreign Corrupt Practice Act, or count 5, relating to obstruction of justice.
Business Today TV looked at the 5 counts in the U.S. indictment and the accused named in each. Count 1 relates to the conspiracy to violate the FCPA, a law akin to the anti-corruption law in India. Defendants include Ranjit Gupta, Cyril Cabanis, Saurabh Agarwal, Deepak Malhotra and Rupesh Agarwal. Count 2 relates to the securities fraud conspiracy. Gautam and Sagar Adani, along with former Adani Green CEO Vineet Jain, are the accused here. Count 3 is the conspiracy to commit wire fraud. The accused here are Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani and Vineet Jain. Count 4, securities fraud, has the same accused. Count 5, conspiracy to obstruct justice, does not have the Adanis as the accused.
This is a charge sheet alleging that these people, including Adanis, have bribed Indian officials in Indian entities relating to supply and purchase of power. But I do not find a single name or a single detail in the charge sheet as to who has been bribed, in what manner has he been bribed, and the official belongs to such and such department. This charge sheet is completely silent.
The open support from top legal minds of India helped Adani stocks rally on Wednesday, with the worst suffering Adani Green hitting the upper circuit of 10% during trade. With the company clarifying there's no bribery charge against the Adanis, investors have been picking up the beaten down group stocks. Bureau Report, Business Today TV. Okay, let's bring in now on this broadcast Sakshi Batra of Business Today TV. The intention of having this kind of a message being put forth by top legal eagles was very clear. It was to kind of also ensure that investors' trust also is taken care of, Sakshi. So how do the markets actually react to this fresh defense, to this clarification from the Adanis?
Well, all the Adani stocks ended in the green in trade today. A sharp rebound from yesterday's losses is what we've seen across the board, with many of the stocks hitting upper circuits as well. In fact, the entire portfolio of 10-11 stocks ended with gains of 1.25 lakh crore rupees added to its market cap as well. When we look at the slew of portfolio shares that ended higher by 20% and hitting that upper circuit mark was Adani Power and Adani Green specifically. We've also seen a 10% surge on the flagship company Adani Enterprises as well. And all of this has come in as a relief rally as a day of clarifications has panned out, favoring some of the statements towards the Adani Group and saying that how in the key charges, at least Gautam Adani and his nephew are not part of where the corruption charges have been made in count 1 and count 5.
But what next for Gautam Adani? Yes, the bribery charges, and there's a clarification on that the bribery charges don't hold on Gautam Adani or Sagar Adani or Vineet Jain for that matter. But there is still an allegation of securities fraud, of a wire fraud conspiracy as well. So what next for Gautam Adani, considering he has about 21 days to respond along with the other accused?
Yes, the summons sent by the U.S. courts to Adani's and their respective residences in Ahmedabad was with notice of 21 days, saying that within 21 days after the service of the summons, they must separately serve on the plaintiff SEC and answer to the attached complaint or a motion under Rule 12 of the Federal Rules of the Civil Procedure. Now, what they were also mentioned is that if they fail to respond, judgment by default will be entered against them for the relief demanded in the complaint as well. And therefore, they have been asked to file their answers or motion with the court in the respective time period.
My final question to you, Sakshi, and there's been a lot of questions really about what impact this really has on the Adani Group. We've spoken of the markets. What about fundraising abilities? What is the Adani Group really doing to ensure this isn't hit, if it hasn't already been?
Well, that's right. The fundraisers will now go slow. Remember, the Adani Group has to consistently go to the banks and the financial institutions as well when it comes to fundraise. They already have about a 42% of the debt, which is through these firms, banks and financial institutions as well. So all of those banks, domestic or international, financial institutions, domestic or international, will now go slow and will probably rethink on the planned, loans that they had already thought that they would be extending to the Adani Group now that the US indictment has brought in these further challenges. So fundraise will be definitely slow, and therefore the expansion plans, the big massive expansion plans that Adani Group had sought over the next 5 years or 3 years perspective could also go a little slow. One will have to wait for clarification. Once all the things are clear, only then will the banks and financial institutions will get the confidence of extending further debt to the group as a whole.
Let's see, overall what the impact will be on the Adani Group. Thanks very much, Sakshi, for joining us with those details. It was with that message, an attempt to kind of ensure the effect on markets is reduced, that you saw the message coming in today that no, the Adanis are not accused of bribery. So let's just explain to you how that is. What does the U.S. court indictment say? Remember that this indictment is on 5 counts, which means essentially 5 charges, 5 allegations. So we'll break it down for you as to what each count, each charge is. The first is of foreign bribery charge. Now, in this particular case, there are 3 names: Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani and Vineet Jain. None of them have been named. Vineet Jain is the former CEO of Adani Green Energy. None of them have been named in the first count of foreign bribery charge. Instead, you have Ranjit Gupta, Cyril Cabanez. You also have Saurabh Agarwal, Deepak Malhotra, Rupesh Agarwal, who have been named. So who are they? They are part either of Azure Power, whose owner is Canadian, or part of a Canadian agency, which also has been named as an accused in this particular case. So these names are in fact in the bribery charge, not that of Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani or Vineet Jain. The second count is a securities fraud charge. And here you've got Gautam Adani's name coming up, Sagar Adani's name coming up, and Vineet Jain, which is why we highlighted for you that while the clarification says very clearly that there's no bribery allegation, the securities fraud charge very much sticks, which is why the indictment is against Gautam Adani as well. Now, the charge of wire fraud. Now, this particularly, count 3, is actually wire fraud conspiracy. And here too, Gautam, Sagar Adani, both of them have been named. Vineet Jain has also been named. So the first count of, in fact, bribery, they're not named. But the other two, of securities fraud or wire fraud conspiracy, they're very much named. Now, obstructing justice. This is another count, another charge in the US court indictment in which, again, the Adanis are not named. And this is what they've highlighted, the fact that these charges are actually against the other accused in the case. But essentially what the US court indictment says is that all of them conspired together. It's only specific charges based on really what their alleged role is in the scam. Now, the reason this is playing out in the US court is, of course, because you've got the allegation that US investors were duped. Let's tell you also all about this case. And I know there have been a whole lot of questions of what this means for the Adani Group, what happens next, what is the current situation. So let's break it down for you question-wise. The first one, what's next in the proceedings? Remember that at this point, it's only an indictment. That means essentially that there's an allegation placed against someone. They're named as an accused in a case. So only after this will you see any sort of legal proceedings happen. It's far too early to even talk about what's going to happen post a trial. Because now, after an indictment, the case is likely to proceed to an arraignment, then pre-trial motions, discovery, potentially a trial. It could possibly end before a trial itself. So an indictment is just the very, very first step. Now, we'll have to see what exactly happens. Authorities could request extradition. There's a question mark on that. It's not a given. There's only the possibility of that happening. So what options are available for Gautam Adani, for Sagar Adani, for Vineet Jain and all the other accused? First, to go ahead and challenge the charges. You fight it out legally, you go ahead and challenge them, you plead not guilty. You negotiate a settlement. Now, in charges that Gautam Adani and Sagar Adani face, charges like that of securities fraud, there is a possibility of a settlement, and they'll be looking at that option closest. If there is a request for extradition, they will also contest that again legally. So even if there's a request for extradition, it's not going to happen in a snap of a finger. It's going to take time because that too will be fought legally. So what can US authorities do if the accused are abroad, like in this particular case, where under charges of the FCPA, which I said is the anti-corruption law essentially that's in the United States, what happens if the accused are abroad? Gautam Adani is in India. US authorities can request an extradition. Now, if that request is something that they're serious about, they can even approach the Interpol and ask for a red corner notice to be issued against that person. But remember that the Interpol gets involved only if this person is absconding wanted by the law, which means essentially that if there is a summon issued and Adani doesn't turn up, then you could see something like this happening. Freeze assets within the US jurisdiction. So that means assets that are in the United States or countries where they have a jurisdiction, not in India. Now, the law that I've been referring to, the FCPA, what exactly is this about? This is the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. Let me just explain to you what that is as well, because it's under this act essentially that you've got the framing of these charges being leveled against the Adanis. This is the US law that essentially prohibits bribery of government officials for business interests. It's very, very similar to India's anti-corruption law. Think of it like this. If someone was in Indian soil going ahead and attempting to bribe an Indian government official, they will face charges under the anti-corruption law. Similarly, under the FCPA, there's a similar case that's been filed in the United States. I answered already why the United States, because the allegation is that US investors were duped and that money was taken from them to go ahead and bribe Indian government officials. That is the allegation. So if the FCPA is a law in the United States, can non-US nationals be charged under this act? Very much so. If actions involve US markets, investors or transactions, which is what I explained to you just now. In this particular case, the allegation was that money was sought for paying these bribes allegedly to Indian government officials from US investors, which is why you're seeing this entire trial happen in a US court. So what are the repercussions if the Adani Group is convicted? It's far too early to say that's going to happen. We're a long journey away from a conviction or some sort of a trial even taking place. But worst case scenario, a conviction happens. What happens then for the Adani Group and the other accused? Convictions can lead to substantial fines. Now, there can also be a prison sentence for individuals who are accused. Obviously, if it's a corporation, it's mostly a fine, but a prison sentence for individuals is very much possible under the FCPA. Now, up to a $25 million fine can be levied upon corporations under the FCPA. So if there's a conviction, which is, like I said, a long way off, and a scenario that you don't know if it will happen or not, this is what potentially the accused could face. Now, also, how does the complaint actually affect Adani executives? Well, it essentially strengthens the case by highlighting statements that misled investors. And that really is also important to highlight here about how the Adani executives and the allegations against them can be affected, because it strengthens, it beefs up and pads up the case further. So these are some of the questions that we've seen coming up constantly in this particular case that we decided to put out the answers for and kind of simplify the allegations, the case, and what happens next for you. Let's cut across to breaking news coming in. Okay, let's get to now details that we're picking up on the U.S. probe into these allegations, into the allegations against Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani, Vinny Jain and several others. Now, what we're picking up is that the United States is yet to officially, formally inform India about the Adani arrest warrant. Remember that the arrest warrant against Adani was issued on 31st October. The execution needs the MHA to be notified, because obviously this is beyond US jurisdiction, so they have to notify the government, the MHA. But what we're picking up from our sources is that no notification has gone through at this point. Now, action can be taken only after the MHA actually directs federal agencies. I want to bring in Munish Pandey for more details on this. Munish, now, you're telling us at this point that there's been no communication that's gone across to the Indian government. At the same time, can you also break down for us, Munish, what is the process if there is an arrest warrant issued outside of the country, like by the US? What needs to be followed? What's the protocol to be followed?
Well, Akshita, at this point of time, the million-dollar question is that when an arrest warrant has been issued against Mr. Gautam Adani by the US authorities, what will happen next? Now, as far as these types of cases are concerned, there is a set process which the US authorities or any foreign agencies has to follow when it comes to the accused residing within the jurisdiction of India. Now, in this case, the US authorities have to first inform the Indian authorities if they want to execute the arrest warrant which has been issued by the US court or US authorities. In this case, the US authorities are supposed to inform the Indian authorities, which is Ministry of Home Affairs. But what we are learning from our sources within the MHA, that so far there has been zero communication from the US authorities to the Indian authorities or MHA that they want to execute arrest warrant or any such type of arrest warrant has been issued against the person of interest, which is Mr. Gautam Adani in this case. Even in that case, Akshita, the process is very complicated. First of all, MHA will go through the evidence shared by the US authorities, and if those evidence, according to Indian law, are credible, then only the MHA will forward the request of, the arrest warrant or the extradition to Federal Law Enforcement Agencies of India, which is Central Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement Directorate in this case. Later on, Akshita, again, we need to understand extradition is always a judicial process, which means that the case will again go on in an Indian court, and Indian court, based on the evidence shared by the US authorities, will decide whether the person is liable to be charged under corruption or not. And in this case, the Indian courts will decide whether Mr. Gautam Adani should be extradited if at all there is a request from the US authorities. But end of the day, even if the court rules in favor of US authorities, then also end call will be by the Indian government, because Indian government can decide based on the political repercussion in the country and other scenarios, considering other scenarios, that Mr. Gautam Adani should be extradited or not. So it is going to be a very long, drawn legal process if at all there is a request from US authorities to extradite Mr. Gautam Adani on the corruption charges. But so far, what sources within the Ministry of Home Affairs and India government have told India Today, that there has been zero communication or there has been no request from the US authorities to execute arrest warrant which has been issued against Mr. Gautam Adani by US authorities.
Okay, very, very interesting. For this actually to be processed, for this arrest warrant to be processed in Indian soil, there are a whole number of steps to be followed. We've broken down for you how this is going to be a long-drawn legal process in America. Munish telling us that for any sort of extradition request, really, again, you'll see a long-drawn legal process in India too. So this is something that's going to play out for months together if, of course, it reaches those stages as well. Thanks very much, Munish, for joining us with all of those details. So this morning, like I said, you had statements coming in from Mukul Rohatgi and Mahesh Jethmalani, but that didn't stop the politics from playing out once again in Parliament. You just about had a few minutes of business in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha before both were adjourned for the day amid ruckus protests by the opposition demanding a debate on the Adani US storm, on the US court indictment. Amid that, you had Mahesh Jethmalani, of course, speaking out. Now, he made some important points, questioning the timing of this indictment, claiming that this is a deep state conspiracy, and also said that this is curiously timed to Parliament proceedings every single time, referring to the Hindenburg report timing and now this. Rahul Gandhi, on the other hand, again raised the issue in Parliament and outside, saying they demand and reiterate that Gautam Adani should be arrested. Let's round up for you all the big political updates.
You are behaving like the local agents of a foreign power that has an interest in stopping India's economic growth and undermining economic policies, our growth story, and our stock markets. And you indirectly affect the retail investors.
These are strong words of condemnation from a top jurist for the Congress party, which has been leveraging the US indictment of 8 Adani Group officers, including Chairman Gautam Adani and his nephew Sagar Adani, to disrupt Parliament proceedings and build pressure on the conglomerate. And this wasn't all from Mahesh Jethmalani.
The Congress party is blindly relying on, an indictment against an Indian conglomerate, which has done extremely useful business, undertaking useful businesses for India abroad, and it is trying to undermine them. It has succeeded in competition to get contracts for ports, etc., against many enemy countries of India. This is not in India's interest.
Both the Houses of Parliament were adjourned minutes after opening for business at 11 this morning, with the opposition demanding a discussion on the Adani issue.
You think Adani is going to accept the charges? Which world are you living in, brother? Obviously, he's going to deny the charges. The point is he has to be arrested.
Jethmalani supported claims by the Adani Green Energy that there were no bribery charges against Gautam Adani and Sagar Adani, or allegations of the duo violating the US Foreign Corrupt Practices Act in the US indictment.
Even the indictment of the US court does not talk about any bribery in India. It does not. It only says there was a conspiracy to bribe. There is no violation of the Foreign Corruption Prevention Act in India. Neither the Adanis nor even Adani Greens, which is the bond holder, which is the bond issuer, none of them have been cited as giving any bribes in India.
Jethmalani has accused the deep democratic state apparatus in the US of engineering the indictment against the Adani Group. He said that the deep state in the US had become extremely hostile to the Indian government beginning 2023, and the indictment against Adani Group was part of their efforts. Bureau Report, Business Today TV.
And the big breaking news that's coming in, even as Parliament remains adjourned because of the showdown over Adani, no decision has been taken yet on any sort of discussion on Adani. In Rajya Sabha particularly, there was the government reaching out to the opposition saying we will agree to a 2-day discussion on the constitution in Rajya Sabha. But in the Business Advisory Committee, no decision has been taken on a discussion on Adani. I want to bring in Aishwarya Paliwal for more details on this. Aishwarya, what's the government's strategy here to deal with, an aggressive opposition that's repeatedly raising only one issue, that they want to debate on Adani? Is the government open to this debate? Are they giving time for it?
Well, Akshita, let me start by telling you at the moment no time has been given for it. And, if we speak about the government and BJP in particular, Akshita, the day the news came out, that day there was a press conference in which the BJP very clearly said that Gautam Adani and his company, they are private players, so we do not want to get into it. Rather, they raised fingers at those state governments, the 4 state governments, which were being ruled by the Congress allies at that time. And they said that why are you asking the BJP or the government to answer on this? Whatever Gautam Adani and the Adani group have to say, they will make out statements. We want to stay away. But why are you not asking questions of those chief ministers who were in power about which the report has come out? So we understand that that's the stand of the government, but the opposition since day one, and Rahul Gandhi at the forefront, Mahua Moitra also at the forefront, the other MPs have been speaking about the fact that all that they want is a JPC which should be looking into the workings of the Adani group. But at the moment, no clear indication whether that will be done or not. And we have seen, 11 a.m., that's the time when the Lok Sabha and the Lok Sabha and RS, all of them begin. And, within minutes we see, Akshita, the kind of sloganeering that takes place. As a result, the adjournment happens. So the opposition very clear, they want a discussion on Adani. But at the moment, the government not giving a very clear signal whether they will allow that or not.
So that means essentially in the days to come, the stalemate is going to continue. There seems to be no breakthrough really in any sort of dialogue between the government and opposition, and unfortunate because what then we're talking about is another unproductive winter session in Parliament. Thanks very much, Aishwarya, for joining us with those details.